Good evening, my friends. This is Paul, and today I'm going to be reading from my favorite book, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Chapter 22, which is called The Deathly Hallows. I'm going to be reading out the lines of Harry, Ron, and Hermione as I envision their movie actors would read them out. So this is my natural dialect right here, as most of you know. And I'm also going to be doing this with my mouth being sore, because I just got back from the dentist a few hours ago, and the numbing finally wore off. So, without further ado, let's go! Protego totalum, salvio hexia.
That treacherous old bleeder. Hermione, you're brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I can't believe we got out of that.
Cave inimicum. Didn't I say it was in Rumpenhorn? Didn't I tell him? Now his house has been blown apart.
Serves him right. What do you reckon they'll do to him?
Oh, I hope they don't kill him. That's why I wanted the Death Eaters to get a glimpse of Harry before we left, so they knew Xenophilius hadn't been lying.
Why hide me, though?
You're supposed to be in bed with Spadgegreat, Ron. They kidnapped Luna because her father supported Harry. What would happen to your family if they knew you were with him?
But what about your mum and dad?
They're in Australia. They should be all right. They don't know anything.
You're brilliant. Yeah, you are, Hermione. I don't know what we'd do without you.
What about Luna?
Well, if they're telling the truth, then she's still alive.
Don't say it! Don't say it! She must be alive. She must!
Then she'll be in Azkaban, I expect. Whether she survives the place, though. Loads don't. She will. She's tough, Luna. Much tougher than you'd think. She's probably teaching all the inmates about rackspurts and noggles.
I hope you're right. I'd feel so sorry for Xenophilius if
he hadn't just tried to sell us to the Death Eaters, yeah.
Oh, why do we go there? Harry, you were right. It was Godric's Hollow all over again. A complete waste of time. The Deathly Hallows. Such rubbish. Although, actually, he might have made it up, mightn't he? He probably doesn't believe in the Deathly Hallows at all. He just wanted to keep us talking until the Death Eaters arrived.
I don't think so. It's much harder making stuff up when you're under stress than you'd think. I found that out when the Snatchers caught me. It was much easier pretending to be Stan, because I knew a bit about him, than inventing a whole new person. Old Lovegood was under loads of pressure, trying to make sure we stayed put. I reckon he told us the truth. Or what he thinks is the truth, just to keep us talking.
Well, I don't suppose it matters. Even if he was being honest, I never heard such a load of rubbish in all my life.
Hang on, though. The Chamber of Secrets was supposed to be a myth, wasn't it?
But the Deathly Hallows can't exist, Ron.
You keep saying that, but one of them can. Harry's invisibility cloak.
The tale of the three brothers is a story about how humans are frightened of death. If surviving was as simple as hiding under the invisibility cloak, we'd have everything we need already.
I don't know. We could do with an unbeatable wand.
There's no such thing, Harry.
You said there have been loads of wands. The Death Stick and whatever they were called.
Alright, even if you want to kid yourself the Elder Wand's real, what about the Resurrection Stone? No magic can raise the dead, and that's that.
When my wand connected with you-know-who's, it made my mum and dad appear. And Cedric.
But they weren't really back from the dead, were they? Those kinds of pale imitations aren't the same as truly bringing someone back to life.
But she, the girl in the tale, didn't really come back, did she? The story says that once people are dead, they belong with the dead. But the second brother still got to see her and talk to her, didn't he? He even lived with her for a while. So, that Peveril bloke is buried in Godric's Hollow. You don't know anything about him, then?
No, I looked him up after I saw the mark on his grave. If he'd been anyone famous or done anything important, I'm sure he'd be in one of our books. The only place I've managed to find the name Peveril is Nature's Nobility, a wizarding genealogy. I borrowed it from Creature. It lists the pureblood families that are now extinct in the male line. Apparently, the Peverils were one of the earliest families to vanish.
Extinct in the male line?
It means the names died out. Centuries ago, in the case of the Peverils. They could still have descendants, though. They'd just be called something different.
Marvolo Gaunt! Sorry? Marvolo Gaunt! You-know-who's grandfather, in the Pensieve, with Dumbledore. Marvolo Gaunt said he was descended from the Peverils. The ring that became the Horcrux. Marvolo Gaunt said it had the Peveril coat of arms on it. I saw him waving it in the bloke from the ministry's face. He nearly shoved it up his nose.
The Peveril coat of arms? Could you see what it looked like?
Not really. There was nothing fancy on there, as far as I could see. Maybe a few scratches. I only ever saw it really close up after it had been cracked open. Blimey! You reckon it was the sign again? The sign of the Hallows? Why not? Marvolo lived like a pig and was ignorant. All he cared about was his ancestry. If that ring had been passed down through the centuries, he might not have known what it really was. There were no books in that house, and trust me, he wasn't the type to read fairy tales to his kids. He'd have loved to think the scratches on the stone were a coat of arms, because as far as he was concerned, having pure blood made you practically royal.
Yes, and that's all very interesting. But Harry, if you're thinking what I think you'll think...
Well, why not? Why not? It was a stone, wasn't it? What if it was the resurrection stone? Blimey! Would it still work if Dumbledore broke?
Work? Work? Ron, it never worked. There's no such thing as a resurrection stone. Harry, you're trying to fit everything into the Hallows story.
Fit everything in? Hermione, it fits of its own accord. I know the sign of the Deathly Hallows was on that stone. Gaunt said he was descended from the Peverils.
A minute ago you told us you never saw the mark on the stone properly.
Where do you reckon the ring is now? What did Dumbledore do with it after he broke it open? Harry? Dumbledore had my cloak the night my parents died. My mum told Sirius that Dumbledore borrowed the cloak. This is why. He wanted to examine it, because he thought it was the third Hallow. Ignotus Peveril is buried in Godric's Hollow. He's my ancestor. I'm descended from the third brother. It all makes sense.
Harry...
Read it. Read it. Dumbledore had the cloak, Hermione. Why else would he want it? He didn't need a cloak. He could perform a disillusionment charm so powerful that he made himself completely invisible without one. It's in here! He left me the ring! It's in the snitch! You reckon? That's what he's after. You know who's after the Elder Wand.
Sorry, lost track of the page for a minute.
This is it. This explains everything. The Deathly Hallows are real, and I've got one, maybe two. And you know who's chasing the third. But he doesn't realize. He just thinks it's a powerful wand.
Harry, I'm sorry, but I think you've got this wrong. All wrong.
But don't you see? It all fits.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't, Harry. You're just getting carried away. Please just answer me this. If the Deathly Hallows really existed, and Dumbledore knew about them, knew that the person who possessed all three of them would be Master of Death, Harry, why wouldn't he have told you? Why?
But you said it, Hermione. You've got to find out about them for yourself. It's a quest.
But I only said that to try and persuade you to come to the Lovegoods. I don't really believe it.
Dumbledore usually let me find out stuff for myself. He let me try my strength, take risks. This feels like the kind of thing he'd do.
Harry, this isn't a game. This isn't practice. This is the real thing, and Dumbledore left you very clear instructions. Find and destroy the Horcruxes. That symbol doesn't mean anything. Forget the Deathly Hallows. We can't afford to get sidetracked. You don't believe in this, do you, Ron?
I don't know. I mean, bits of it sort of fit together. But when you look at the whole thing, I think we're supposed to get rid of Horcruxes, Harry. That's what Dumbledore told us to do. Maybe we should forget about this Hallows business.
Thank you, Ron. I'll take first watch. Thank you very much for listening, my friends, and until the next time, keep the faith, stay epic, God bless, and you can become the Master of Death if you have God. Bye.